Welcome to another program in our series, Freethinking Forum. My name is Bill Weir. I'm the producer and host, and I'm delighted to have with me today Bill Peter. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
And Bill, you've got a wonderful reputation as an innovation consultant. And you've also been taking part in the Minnesota Futurists for over a decade. And your card says, the golden age of innovation, unleashing human potential. I sure like that idea. Where did you come up with it? What's the rationale?
Well, I'm 83 years old, and I started to think about what can I leave for posterity? And I concluded that I have learned a lot in my life, and I'd like to share it with a lot of people around the world. I've lived in 11 states in the United States and consulted in 15 countries around the world, and I've learned a lot, but how do I share it? And also, what can I leave for my children and grandchildren?
Yes.
So I created the golden age of innovation, 2019 to 2050, because I can imagine what wonderful things we could do between now and 2050, and that's what...
If we learn.
Oh, we've got a lot to learn to get there, but it's fairly bold, but I think enjoyable to me to say, if we put our mind to it, what could we do in the next period up to 2050? And 2050 is just a nice round number to go to, but we want to start it this year.
But you're giving us 31 years to get there.
31 years to get there. Normally, somebody calls it a golden age. After something happened, they say it's a golden age because something happened in the last 50 years.
Let's make it the
Let's
age
make
of,
it the golden age of innovation.
Yeah, we can do it.
I think we can. And
on the back of your card, it says, think about it. Memory skills plus imagination skills plus collaboration skills equals innovation skills. Tell me about that.
Well, I have had the opportunity to teach senior citizens, give speeches in churches, teach children in high school, and I've come to the conclusion that we have the wrong formula for education. The formula we have for education worldwide is memory skills. So you read a book, you take a test. You hear a lecture, you take a test. And that's how we measure the effectiveness of our education systems. It's not the whole story, but it's embedded into the bureaucracy of how we do education.
Yeah.
I have 2 degrees from MIT. Even MIT is doing it that way. Memory skills plus tests. And I said, well, if I had to stretch, what would it be? And what it would be is memory skills plus imagination skills.
Yes.
Plus collaboration skills equals innovation skills. For example, Thomas Edison was installing electrical turbines in New York City, and at the time he was doing that, there wasn't a single course in any university or school in the world on electrical engineering. So he couldn't have gotten it from a book. He tinkered in his own laboratory. And that's imagination skills that Thomas Edison had. And we need to apply that memory skills plus imagination skills. And the next one is plus collaboration skills, because one person by themselves only has so many good ideas. And I have found in all of my jobs that I've had all around the world, get 3, 4, 6 people together and find out what ideas they have. And now you're collaborating. And you come to a conclusion. It's much stronger than one person making that decision. So collaboration is a skillful thing that says, I can get people together and talking about a problem. Now we've got memory skills plus imagination skills like Thomas Edison, plus the ability to collaborate. And
sit around a table and
all adds up to innovation skills.
Yeah.
But if you want innovation, you cannot get it just by memory skills.
Right. Now, you've told me about some big gatherings, 120 people, is it, you like? You want to tell us more about that? All these tables of 6 people.
Right. The formula that I found to break down the education system that we have today, we need a supplement. And the supplement is, that I found the most successful, is having 20 tables of 6. So it's 120 people, like in a hotel conference room.
Yeah.
And you got 120 people at 20 different tables, posing a problem. Let everybody at each table discuss what the solution is to the problem. They all will have different opinions, but they have to come to a consensus of a group of 6 at their table. And then the group of 6 at that table has to talk with all the other tables and come up with a consensus of the 120 people. This is practical exercises on tapping into everybody's knowledge.
Yes.
And wouldn't it be nice if our Congress had some practical exercises on collaboration skills?
Oh, we have a better Congress for sure.
Yeah, but why don't we have this whole formula of memory skills plus imagination skills plus collaboration skills equals innovation skills? The reason we don't have it is because we are tied up with bureaucracy. The number one inhibitor to innovation is bureaucracy. There's manual, we've got to follow the rules. Certain level people can do certain things. The person that's on the factory floor doesn't get a chance to talk to the CEO. So how does the CEO get the best advice? How does the plant manager get the best advice? It's really good if they talk to a lot of the people and find out how are we doing it, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, and then ask, what do the customers say about what we're doing?
Yeah.
And when you get all of that input, the customer's input plus everybody in your organization, you now have broken down the concept that you've got to follow the manual that we have. That's bureaucracy of following today's regulations rather than trying to think of something new. So
that improves. And
to be an innovator means you have to figure out ways to get management to let you get a group together and try something.
yeah,
Now, you probably need approval by somebody in the pyramid, organization structure. But if you get it, and all my life I have been an innovator because I have wanted to get ideas of a lot of people and collaborate because I don't have all the ideas. Organizations resist that. But in my career, I've been fortunate. I've been able to provide well for my family and get a variety of different jobs by being an innovator myself. And then I think, well, I'm 83 years old. What can I tell people for the future? And what can we possibly do to make that learning process much more than just memory skills?
good. Now, you have a chart here, Imagine 2050.
Yes, to say imagine 2050 is a bold statement because who knows what's going to happen. And yet, somebody has to imagine it before it happens. Thomas Edison imagined electricity and did the experiments in his own laboratory. So somebody's got to start. So if you imagine the future, I went to MIT and I get MIT's literature coming to my home, and I read in MIT literature that the brain studies have come to the conclusion that every human being has the capability, when they're an adult, to have 1,000 trillion neuron connections in their brain.
Wow.
1,000 trillion neuron connections. Some people call them synapses. Now, if you
How do I hold them all in here?
if the brain is capable, that's the point.
Wow.
The brain is capable of handling. Now, they also have found that there's every adult human in the whole world, Africa, China, United States, every adult human
Yeah.
has over 800 billion neurons. 800 billion neurons in their brain. Everybody's got all of that. But those 800 billion neurons can end up being 1 trillion neuron connections where you learn things. For instance, when you learn to ride a bicycle, you're only a kid and you learn to ride a bicycle. The minute you learn how to ride a bicycle, you've added new neuron connections to your brain. So next time you get on a bike, get up and ride.
Yeah.
But you didn't learn that in a book. You didn't learn that from a lecture. You learned it from practical experience in learning to, and somebody had to tell you, remember to pedal, remember to steer.
Remember to put on the brakes.
Remember to put on the brakes. So somebody coached you a little way to learn to ride a bicycle. But as soon as you got that balance and steering and so on, now it's recorded in your brain as neuron connections. So every life experience is a great experience. Learning how to collaborate with others is a life experience. And if you're not learning them by memory skills plus tests, which our present education system does, then you're losing what capability there is. So I'm really saying the total education systems in the whole world need to be changed so that we're not stuck just on memory skills.
So we can really unleash
the full human potential of the human brain, and that the human brain is the secret. The brain tells the foot to move, and you don't take a step until the brain tells the foot to move.
Mm-hmm.
We first learned that in our mother's womb. Every mother knows that the baby kicks at some point. How did they kick? Because the brain told the baby to kick. And it's amazing. That's the brain development is what caused that.
Right. Now,
but how do we reach this ultimate number? We'll talk more about that, and we'll talk more later on. How do you measure the number of neuron connections in the brain?
Okay.
Because I've thought about that one too.
Yeah, now we're looking at this huge asterisk on here, exclamation point, on how humans learn.
That's right. And I asked myself, how are humans learning now, and how would we like them to learn?
What else do we need to add?
We have fallen into a trap to think that a person's IQ tells you how smart they are.
No.
IQ is take a test and see what the grade is on the test. That's what IQ is. And what you had to have done is get some facts, put them together into groupings, and that's information. And then facts plus information equals intelligence. And that's our traditional education approach.
We have to move beyond it.
But that's where high school, college, all over the world, that's as far as they're going. So to go beyond that, we'll unleash human potential and get all those neuron connections in our brain. But we need to get the imagination skills.
Mm-hmm.
We need more Thomas Edison's. When Thomas Edison was doing experiments, he said, and I've read a lot about Thomas Edison, I had successes and learnings. I had no successes and failures in my experiments. I had successes and learnings. He learned a little bit, so the next time he'd get a better experiment.
Right.
But it's not everybody that thinks that whatever your life experience is, you have positive things and then possibilities and so on. Well, Thomas Edison says, where's your imagination come from? Successes and learnings.
And not failures. Because the
Your
failure has to be
you found out
focused
that
on what you can learn.
if you tried a certain magnesium type of metal to make a light bulb work and it didn't work, you learned something.
Right.
That it wasn't the right length or it wasn't the right metal composition or something to make a light bulb work. So that's what he said, successes and learnings are real important. And, you know, imagination is thinking about something nobody's ever thought about before. And put it into your brain and you got imagination. I have a concept that starts with worrying about Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah.
And Alzheimer's disease is a loss of some of your memory.
Yeah.
Okay? that means you've lost some neuron connections in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
In the future, somebody's got to invent it. I envision an electronic hat where you'll go to the hospital or a doctor's office, they'll put a hat on you, and in 15 minutes, you'll get up and walk away with a piece of paper that says your name, your date, and how many neuron connections you've got in your brain. Now, that's got to be invented, right?
Yeah.
Thomas Edison had to invent the light bulb, but it's an electronic thing that is necessary. So now we don't have to say you got a master's degree or a PhD. We know you got the neuron connections.
Yeah.
And so that you didn't have to go to college to do that. And so not everybody should go to college. Not everybody gets out of high school. But our traditional bureaucratic system is you're smart if you got A's and graduated from high school, and you're very smart if you graduated from college, and if you were the top 3 in your class in college, you're super smart, and you can get a good job. But nobody has trained you on imagination. Collaboration, the training system that I mentioned to you, having 20 tables of 6, and all trying to solve the same problem, that's a huge collaboration, because you have to collaborate with the 6 people, and then the 6 people have to talk to the other tables, come up with a conclusion. That's collaboration training. It's like learning to ride a bicycle. You learn something that you never got from a book, but you got it from practical experience. Those collaboration systems I'm calling innovation workshops.
Good.
They're innovation workshops.
I'd sure like to attend one.
Yeah.
I bet a lot of viewers would
If we
too.
want innovation, but somebody has to run the first innovation workshop, and then you get lots of them. And then some philanthropist maybe will put $1 billion in and have lots of these things happen. Sometimes they're not profitable right off, so a corporation can't do it all the time. But sometimes a philanthropist can, if they see the idea, can help stimulate the development. So, unleashing human potential requires that we go beyond traditional learning practices and add imagination, collaboration, and innovation. Now, I want to mention 2 people because they're my intellectual resource.
Yes.
Mahatma Gandhi, 3. Mahatma Gandhi, Maria Montessori, and Albert Einstein.
Yes.
Maria,
What a great array of people.
Those are great array of people, had great accomplishments in life, but they left some heritage. Now, I'll start off with Maria Montessori just as an example. She started her work in Italy, and then she went to a country in Europe, and then she came to the United States. And however, the general principles that she used have never gotten past preschool in the United States.
Why?
Because she had a thought process that was different than we were allowed to use. Her thought process was, it is as if every child has the perfect teacher already in their brain for them. That you're born with capabilities.
To learn.
And she lets them play, and she lets them do things.
Yeah.
Children learn how to play the violin. You know, that's a tremendous learning experience.
It is.
But she wouldn't get it in a normal school necessarily. So she said, we got to stimulate the imagination. Albert Einstein said, I have studied all the forces in the universe. And my study of the forces in the universe say that the most abundant and the most powerful force in the whole universe is human imagination.
Yes.
That's a quote from Albert Einstein.
That
No.
he knows.
He knows, but it's not just, it's computers, it's the internet, it's technology.
Yeah. Too many people just answer technology.
Technology is one of the exciting things to get innovation, but it's not the only way. I think maybe it's time to go to this chart.
Yeah, world-class innovation.
World-class innovation is really unleashing human potential. And I thank my family and my situations, my teachers along the way. I have had the experience to work for pay in business, in government, in education, in healthcare, and not-for-profits and families. I've worked for families for pay, and I've worked for every one of these parts of society. And I had certain skills, and I was an innovator, but I had to get the bureaucracy in each of these organizations to accept the fact that they might want to try something different.
Yeah.
Instead of just follow the manual, don't get in trouble. You can't approve that. We have to go to the president to get approval for that. You got to have the ability to make some mistakes somewhere along the way. So I had the experience in all of these, and it's been wonderful. In education, I've had the opportunity to teach MBA students. Did that for 10 years.
Wow.
I've had the opportunity to teach senior citizens when we had a place in Arizona in the winter, and I teach senior citizens and teach MBA students. I've had opportunity to teach high school students. And when you have those variety of experiences, then you can start to say, what's the commonality? And the commonality is bureaucracy, and the old way of learning is memory skills plus tests. But how are we going to get innovation? And when I ask, for example, MBA students, I put innovation. What comes to your mind from the word innovation? And they say,
Computers.
Computers, technology, the internet, new technical things. Well, I'll accept the fact that technology can lead to innovation. But there are 3 other ways. And they said, what? I mean, these are intelligent MBA students. And I said, how about collaboration? You don't have all the ideas. You get 6 people together, 5 people together, and say, what would you do? What would you do? What would you do? Why? How do you think that'll work? And you're having a discussion, and you're getting the brain power of half a dozen people instead of just yourself, and collaboration can be real powerful. We have not trained in any school system that I've found in the world for collaboration skills. Now, the innovation workshops that I conduct have these tables, and we all are working on the same problem, and then we try to figure out what's the best. Now, the US Congress could really use collaboration skills.
Yeah.
And they get stuck on the bureaucracy, and they get stuck on how much money they were given by various donors and what those donors want to have happen, and which party they're from, and they can't ever cooperate with the other party. But they have never had the education process. This education process never got them past memory skills. They haven't gotten to imagination and collaboration, and therefore they don't have the skills to do it. Well, our whole education system has to be changed. That's a big deal. I can think about that, but not everybody would think about that. And then the MBA student said, well, now we did it, right? We got collaboration skills and technology. I said, no. What about all the ships that are floating around the world and taking one product from one country and shipping it to another and so on, all the shipping things? What is that type of innovation? And it's cost control. Somebody can grow soybeans terrifically well for low expense. Somebody else can make parts for a car. Somebody else can build cars. And you get the resources from wherever it is, but you're looking for cost control, who can do it best, and it's international trade makes that possible.
Now, we have less than 5 minutes left. So tell us about that, and let's get to this one.
Okay, very good. The last one is value and ethics. So what Mahatma Gandhi did, what Nelson Mandela did, what Martin Luther King did, had nothing to do with these first 3. It was value and ethics that they were looking for. And that's a powerful influence on society, but not recognized as an innovation, and yet it is a fantastically important innovation possibility in all sections of society. So we've looked at the how to unleash human potential. We've looked at how to do it in 6 sections of society. And this last chart talks about a book which is entitled The Golden Age of Innovation, and from now, 2019 to 2050, and how can we have an impact on the lives of all humanity. Interesting thing is, there are different kinds of books. There's nonfiction and there's fiction. And it's neither one of those. So it's not science fiction. So I have to this is a new genre of books, and it's called Unleashing Human Potential. I made that up.
Well,
and then I said, what will I put on the cover? And this is the cover of the book. So 2050 will stand out, and this is what we're shooting for.
well, when can we read the book?
Well, I'm in the process of preparing it.
Good for you. We've got 3 minutes left.
Okay.
What would you like to sum up with?
I guess I'd like to sum up with the most important learning vehicle in the world is the family, and the responsibility of the parents for setting value systems, teaching children value systems, and teaching your children to be kind to each other, to learn all they can every day. Learn, build up the neuron connections in their brain, even if we haven't got the electronic hat yet to measure it. But the biggest teacher system in the world is the family.
Yes.
Now, Maria Montessori wrote the book, which is a priceless thing that everybody can enjoy it. And she called her book The Absorbent Mind.
The absorbent mind.
Absorbent mind. And she said, it is as if every child is born with the perfect teacher in its brain.
To absorb.
Someone would say it's God. The Absorbent Mind is a fantastic book. You don't learn everything from books, but that book is priceless. A child learns to crawl. How does a child learn to crawl? It sees a ball and it wiggles its body and it starts to crawl.
Yeah, it learns.
They learn by practicing simple things.
Yeah. Now we're down to a minute and almost a minute. So is there anything more you want to, you've been telling me about a video from TED Talks, I think it is.
Yes. One of the videos in TED Talks that I think is terrific is Conception to Birth.
Why?
Scientists is talking, and it's we know how babies are born, but we've never seen it. And what they did is they took pictures, X-rays, MRIs, sonograms of pregnant women for all 9 months. And then the man who speaks that lecture at TED Talks had the job of taking that data and making it into graphics.
And
So
they're great graphics.
the graphics start out with the egg and how they combine, and all the way through the delivery at birth. And that, you can't watch that video without coming to the conclusion that God created the heaven and earth, and God created human beings, and my gosh, it's an amazing process.
It sure is. Thank you again.
Thank
Bill.
you.
I hope you can come back.
I'll appreciate it. This has been very enjoyable. This is my passion, obviously.
Yes.